Hey, what's going on, you guys? AK40 Kevin here, and I'm extremely excited because I'm starting another one-off custom controller build, which is very pleasurable for me to build them. It's a way for me to express my creativity, and it's something that actually interests me, is making one-off custom controllers that I know nobody else there has that exact controller. So you guys may have already seen my personal controller, which is Kingslayer. It's an Xbox One Elite. If you have not, I have a build series going on with a playlist that you can kind of binge watch the different parts and see what I've done with that. And then this is honestly probably one of my favorite projects. This is Project Grunt, which is a military-styled Xbox One controller with custom dog tags, bionic quick grips, bullet buttons. I painted everything. It's got some little, tricky things here and there. This is just awesome. So anyway, if you come on over here, the project that I'm starting is called Project Gamer Girl, which is for my 10-year-old daughter. So this project is very near and dear to my heart because she's, getting into video games, and we play a lot of video games together. So I think it's time that she has a custom controller that kind of fits her personality. So we're starting with this Xbox One S controller, but this is just too bland and it doesn't really speak to her personality or her character. So her three favorite colors are teal and turquoise, which people often get confused. So here is, side by side, so you can see teal is a lot brighter and turquoise is quite a bit darker. So these are both high gloss. They're going to look very good, and they both are a paint primer mix, and they both mold to plastic. You want to make sure if you are painting controllers, it says bonds to plastic directly on the can, or if not, you're going to have to sand, which is just an extra step. So her third favorite color is baby pink, which if you don't know what baby pink is, because I did not until she explained it to me and then I looked it up, it is a kind of a matte, flat looking, not very bright pink. So it's not a very, cornea scorching, eyeball popping color like bright pink or hot pink or anything like that. It's kind of more of a neutralish, kind of, what's the word? Yeah, kind of like a matte, dull pink. So her three favorite colors are baby pink, teal, and turquoise. So we're going to incorporate these not only into the controller, but I'm also making her a matching pair of headphones, or gaming headset if you want to call it that, and a custom carrying case. So as well as a little carrying basket with a custom shirt too. So it's going to be kind of a bundle of just gamer goodies, custom painted with her favorite colors and everything. So enough jaw jacking. I want to show you guys what I have lined out here for the project. Hopefully you guys can see that. Alright, so we have the controller we're working on. This is from Expert Rating. This is a soft touch, which is like a nice soft velvety material baby pink cover. This is $15 on Amazon. Link in the description below. This is a stencil kit that I got from Walmart. I believe it was $5 or $6. I have my tool to pry off the shell so we can actually get into the insides, because we are going to be replacing these stock color buttons with the whiteout buttons from my Xbox One Elite. I think these will look really good on there. This stretch cord here is going to hang a couple of these charms from the these holes in the stereo port, or if it's kind of interfering with the actual stereo port, I'm going to go ahead and I have a Dremel tool. I'll drill one or two small holes here so I can hang one of these stretch cords here with a couple of these little trinkets here, just to add a little flair, a little spice to the controller. Then we've got these adhesive gemstones, again just going to add a little bit of trim, not on this one, on this bad boy here. And then we have masking tape in 2.5 inch and 1 inch or ½ inch, I want to say. Well, anyway, a big one and a little one. So this is going to be used to mask off the entire face. And then I'm going to be using the stencil to align the letters that I need, and using this X-Acto knife from Walmart to cut out her name, and then spray her name with one of these two colors. And then this part of the controller is going to get painted one of these colors, and then these grips here are going to get painted another color, and then of course the D-pad and sticks are going to get painted. And I also have some custom sticks coming with the little puppy paws on them, so that's going to look pretty cool as well. So, oh, and don't want to forget about these back here. We got super glue, which you might need to add some of these trinkets and whatnot to the faceplate, and then this is of course glitter glue, which if you don't know what that is, it basically lets you write or draw with kind of a thick glittery paste. So we're going to use this to kind of accent some of the paint that I put on there, like maybe add some trim to the letters, to the characters, to the text, and so it's going to really pop. I mean, this is going to be a very colorful, very vibrant, very flashy one-off custom controller, and I'm very excited. I think my daughter's going to like it very much. So also forgot to mention these. I have my screwdriver kit here, which we're going to need to take the controller apart, and I have my unboxing knife here in case we need to cut anything. Alright guys, so step one is to take this 2.5-inch masking tape and mask off this entire faceplate. I'm going to do that now. You guys don't have to watch me do that, it's pretty boring, but I will turn you guys on when I am done with this. Alright, so we got our new baby pink faceplate all masking taped up. We have our stencil here and our X-Acto knife, and this takes a pretty steady hand because you want to apply enough pressure when you're cutting out these letters from the stencil to where you cut through the masking tape, but you don't want to push too hard to where you go all the way through and scratch the shit out of the paint on the faceplate. I mean, granted, it's going to get painted anyway, but it's still, if you scratch it deep enough, you'd still have like a visible scrape or line on there, which is no bueno. So it's also kind of difficult to make sure the stencil stays in place. However, I do have these two little stickers that came with the stencil kit, so hopefully they can kind of like hold it in place for me. And let's do it. Alright guys, we're going with plan B. So having the entire faceplate covered in masking tape and then using an X-Acto knife to cut out the stencils really wasn't working at all. So going to plan B. So the only downside to this is I'm going to have to do each letter individually and then let it dry and then move on to the next letter, which is kind of a bummer, but honestly it's going to look a whole heck of a lot better, and it's also going to allow me to, you know, hold the stencil right up against the controller and kind of get like a, you know, a soft run of where the placement is, and, you know, to make sure that I like it before I spray it. So just what we're going to have to do. So I got my little spray area set up here, and as you guys probably know, at least if you've spray painted in the past, you want to make sure that you shake this thoroughly for about 60 seconds or so, because there's a lot of the primer that needs to mix with the paint, and make sure that everything's all science, you know, make sure everything's all mixed up. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and install these buttons, which, as you know if you have watched my other controller builds, is one of the most aggravating and frustrating parts of building a controller, because you have to go take this apart all the way down to the chip or board level, which is a little bit involved, but I'm not going to record during that process, because if you want to see it, I already have like 2 or 3 other videos on how to disassemble an Xbox controller all the way down to, you know, completely broken down. So I'm going to do that now and replace these cartoonish colored buttons with these sweet whited out buttons, and yeah. Alright guys, this back shell is going to be getting painted this dark turquoise here, so there's 2 things you need to do to prep it. First of all, you want to clean it. As you see, there's a lot of hand oil and dirt and grime. We've had this controller in the family for, I want to say, about 2 years, since I had my Xbox One S. This is the stock controller that came with it. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and clean this off real good. I'm just using some glass cleaner here and a rag. You can use other cleaning formulas, but honestly I found that like Windex and generic knockoffs of Windex seem to work pretty darn good. Second thing you want to do is take some masking tape and cover up your steel leads, your metal leads for your battery. I usually don't cover this side just because, well, paint generally doesn't reach over here. If you want to be better safe than sorry, you can go ahead and cover those prongs as well, but you definitely want to cover these up, because if you paint over them with a few layers, they might not make good contact with your battery. So just something to keep in mind. So I saturate the hell out of it with glass cleaner, let it soak for a minute, and then just wipe her down. You want it as clean as possible so you make sure that paint sticks. Alright, so as you see, that cleaned up pretty darn good. That's much more of a crispy snow white than it was before. It was kind of a poop brown earlier. It was kind of gross. So also just to the touch, you can tell that it doesn't have those greasy hand oils on it anymore, so the paint's going to stick a lot easier. You don't need to sand these or anything like that, especially if you get a paint that says right on there that it bonds to plastic. It'll stick just fine, especially with these textured grips that the Xbox have. Alright, shake the can good. About 4 to 8 inches away. 6 is a good sweet spot. And this is just coat 1, so it's just going to be a light coat. Now, as with many things in life, you want to make sure you hit it from all angles. Alright. Don't follow me, girl. Careful, sweetheart. Alright, so that is what your coat 1 should look like. You can still see the... Ooh, sorry guys. Jerking you around. You can still see the white in the background. You know, your first coat, it's a good sign that you put it on too thick if you can't see the original color underneath it. So that's all you want for a first coat. Let that dry for, depending on your temperature. I have a fan in here. I'll probably give it about an hour, and then go ahead and slap coat 2, and basically repeat the process until I feel as if it looks adequate. I'll probably end up putting about 3 or 4 coats on this bad boy, because I really want to make this controller top notch for my daughter. I'm definitely taking pride in this project. Alright guys, so with the same Windexy rag that I cleaned off the back shell, I went ahead and wiped down these components, which are going to get painted this bright teal here. Or I'm sorry, they call it Saint Tropaz, but it's basically teal. And then I moved this guy over here. First coat is drying, looking good, looking sexy. Now, since I've already done videos taking Xbox controllers completely apart, I didn't really feel it necessary to show you guys how to remove the triggers and the bumpers and the analog sticks and D-pad. If you do need to know how to do that, I'll have a link down in the description below to a video that specifically is for disassembly of an Xbox controller. Let's kind of spread these pieces out a little bit, give us a little sunlight. That's what we're doing.